Hello everyone, and this is my review for Monday Night Raw on June 2nd, 2014. And, you know, they're coming. This Raw is coming off of the Payback pay-per-view, and honestly, which was it was a decent pay-per-view. It wasn't anything spectacular. You had some really good matches with Wyatt and Cena and the Shield and Evolution. I thought those were two spectacular matches. And then you had pretty much a decent show with that as what. Outside of that as well, but you know, Raw itself, you know, having you had Batista quit right at the beginning, and obviously he's just doing this so he can go promote his Guardians of the Universe movie and everything on that aspect. So they had to write him off in some way, and this is probably the best way of doing it. I definitely like the promo with Triple H and Batista in this one. It came off really well, and they did with what they did. They got Batista out of there as best as they could. But for the most part, this show, you know, it just feels like it's all. You're not really getting much of storylines built around other people. I mean, you just keep getting like segments with different things. You know, with a lot. I'm trying to figure the right words here. You pretty much just get a lot of segments and a lot of segments with just random stuff, and then you get the storylines that they are mainly portraying at this point for bits and pieces. I mean, you had the Adam Rose segment in there again, and he has a mini feud going on with Jack Swagger, but we'll see how long they actually go on with that. And pretty much they're just using Swagger to put over Adam Rose at this point. The Rusev segment towards the end of the show, honestly, I get that they're cranking up the volume as much as possible with everything in this character, you know, Lana and the Russian side of everything. I know they're cranking up the volume to try to get as much heat on this guy as possible. But the longer that segment went on, you felt like somebody was going to come out and intervene or interfere, and then it was kind of just nothing happened. It almost made the segment seem pointless with what they were doing with the ceremony they were doing for Rusev. But you know, we'll see where they're going with him. They're obviously cranking up the volume. Very hard to get as much heat on this guy as possible. I think they really do like Rusev, and they want to see him succeed more. So they're trying to get as much heat on this guy as possible at this point. And you know, he's not bad in the ring. I definitely like how he sets up his finisher by stomping on the person's back before putting in the accolade or the camel clutch. It definitely puts more emphasis on the move going into it, and the way he puts on the moves also really well and looks very painful. So they're doing everything possible to get this guy over at this point. So we'll see if he does eventually get over, but time will only tell him that. The Damien Sandow deal, they continually are trying to make him throw him out there in different type of gimmicks and everything. I really wish they would come up with something for this guy. He's really good in the ring. He's really good on the microphone. And he's just going through that period of time that he's kind of just in limbo, doing random stuff and kind of just being that jobber. And hopefully this will, you know, him getting through this would eventually lead to a push for him down the road at some point in time. You still had the continuation, you know, this pretty much brings me to the main points of the entire show, and this was the Stephanie McMahon segment, which eventually led to her and John Cena having a promo, but her also announcing that they were going to have the Money in the Bank ladder match, and if Daniel Bryan couldn't compete in a stretcher match with Kane, the Money in the Bank ladder match would now become for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which basically would say which basically makes you think that they believe Daniel Bryan's going to be there, because you don't really want to devalue the Money in the Bank contract by not having it at the pay-per-view itself. But, you know, it is a neck injury with Daniel Bryan, so you don't really know what they're going with. And now they at least have a plan B just in case he's not going to be medically cleared or anything like that. And, you know, and that came off pretty decently. The segment, or the promo with John Cena and Stephanie McMahon was really good. I believe on eventually her punishing Cena by having Kane come out and have a match with him and basically just beat him up for a little while and then cause a DQ. That came off pretty well and shows Kane as more of a monster and continuing on trying to push him past that whole he used to be corporate Kane, now he's this monster again. So we'll see where they continually go with that, and where they have to go with it at some point because of Daniel Bryan's injury. And this one brings me into the actual Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and the Usos. First of all, I would like to say the promo that Luke Harper put out there was actually a pretty good one, and it was nice to see him get a chance to speak a little bit more, cut a full promo without Bray Wyatt being there, because Bray Wyatt is kind of the whole architect around the whole Wyatt family deal, and this kind of just gave him a quick chance to show, hey, I'm more than just kind of this crazy, creepy type of guy. He can actually talk as well. He can actually talk. He can actually perform a good promo. He's always been good in the ring, so that was nice to see. And also, them putting, going over the Usos this week was a good way of doing it, non-title and everything. They've been building up slowly, for the Wyatts, Harper and Rowan for against the Usos for the tag titles, and hopefully that will occur with the Money in the Bank pay-per-view or even SummerSlam if they want to drag it out even further before they actually have the tag team title match. This pretty much brings me to what was the last point of the night. And I talked about the Evolution, Batista quitting and everything earlier, but the final segment of Raw, and they have been talking about the whole night. Triple H always has a plan B, always has a plan B, or he always has a plan. Talking about how he always wins even when he loses, and he sets up a match with Randy Orton and Roman Reigns, and it looks like it was just not a type of match where it was just not going to happen at all, and you were going to have the Shield fight Triple H and Randy Orton, and then maybe a third person would come out and help them. But instead, and I really liked what they did with this, because months back they had teased that they were breaking up the Shield, but then they decided not to do it at that point to kind of ride the momentum that they had. They chose the night, which having the ride out Batista for going off to his movie, and then having Seth Rollins turn on the Shield in the same night, I felt was a really good way of doing it, because at this point, with how much momentum they had built, you didn't think the Shield was going to break up this soon. You figured maybe at Money in the Bank or somewhere before SummerSlam, because I believe they are going for a Triple H Roman Reigns match or even Dean Ambrose match at SummerSlam or somewhere down the road. So you figured they would try to pull this off a little bit more down the road instead of doing it in the same night that they had this one guy written off. But I felt it came off really well, especially with how you almost felt it and saw it coming when you saw Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns step forward to get closer to the ropes, and then Seth Rollins just stood back and then swung the chair, knocking down Roman Reigns. It just came off really well, and it was a very good turn in this case. It was almost shocking that it was Seth Rollins. You figured it might have been more Dean Ambrose at this point, but I think they see something more in Seth Rollins than they do in Dean at this point in time. So it was just really well performed and really well timed out with what they did, and in this sense, for the storyline purposes, it made it feel shocking because of how over they got with the night before, clean sweeping Evolution, and then Seth Rollins just turns on him the next night. It was just really well done. But overall, you had a few good segments in there with Raw. A lot of it just felt like it was just random, almost random BS. You had Ziggler and Del Rio, which we've seen plenty of times before, but now is a Money in the Bank ladder match qualifier, which they just had Del Rio go over. So great, he's in that. He's in the Money in the Bank match now, and they're not going to put Ziggler in there or anything in that sense. Which a lot of fans really would probably just rather have Ziggler in there versus Del Rio. So who knows when they're going to actually push Ziggler again, or if they ever will. But the Stephanie McMahon John Cena segment came off really well. I liked the promo with Harper and Rowan in there without Bray Wyatt, so it was a nice little change of pace with them. Obviously, you want Bray Wyatt there most of the time, but having a one-off night where he wasn't there and Harper got to cut the promo was a nice little change of pace. And then their match with the Usos, again, really good. And of course, the ending of the night, which was just a great ending to the night to pretty much a mediocre show in general, with Seth Rollins turning on the Shield, going with Evolution and Randy Orton and Triple H, just came off really well there, or in my mind. So yeah, that's my review for Monday Night Raw this week, and I thank you guys for watching.